O'Reilly! You've got questions? O'Reilly Auto Parts has answers. Need a pro you can trust? We've got that too. No matter what you need, our professional parts people have the training and expertise to help you do things right. Deep automotive knowledge, just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is a podcast from Minute Media.
Hashtag no music, no intro. Whew. I know we did. If you haven't checked this out, we joined TJ Jones, Ryan, myself last night. State of the Saints podcast. Jumped on with him, chopped it up for over an hour talking about the Saints. But I feel like it's like we haven't done like an episode in a while. Like our last episode we did was with Greg. And so this episode, we're going to be talking about a lot of things. Talking about minicamp coming to a close today. Talk about the brand new black helmet that seems to be kind of polarizing. And just give our thoughts about minicamp thoughts, going into training camp, some things that may have caught our attention regarding this team. We fully are aware that from now until training camp starts picking up, there's a month of just tumbleweeds in terms of NFL. Like not going to be anything. And usually when that happens, our listenership drops and not as much, listens. Although I will say I have been pleasantly surprised by the amount of listens and downloads that we're still getting in this low period right now. Like that's impressive. We thank y'all. So keep that up. But we're going to, even though it's going to die down here in terms of football action, we're still going to try to, have content. It may not even be football content. I'll be completely honest. Like it may just be whoever we can get on to talk about. It could be pop culture. It could be food. Who knows what it could be. It's going to be something. So we're still going to do episodes once a week. We want to thank tremendously our Patreons. We just finalized the menu from Blue Oak Barbecue from the VIP get together in October. Menus finalized. Now we're working on getting the alcohol situation figured out and finalized. Working on that stuff. Like we're still doing a lot of things for this podcast and for this show. So even though it might die down in terms of football, in terms of things not happening in the NFL, we're still going to be working. And then once training camp ramps up and gets started, like we hitting the road full speed ahead. And I'll be honest, man, that first preseason game, that Zoom live stream, bro, I'm ready for it, bro.
I'm ready.
But let's start with the helmet. Before we even dive into football, the Saints unveiled today an alternate black helmet that is, in my opinion, it looks sleek. It looks nice. I think like the little mohawk with the little fleur-de-lis has thrown some people off. They don't like that. But I'm not a big uniform jersey person. I'm just not. I used to be, but as I've gotten older, like I don't really give two shits about it. When I first saw it, I was like, God damn, like that's a nice helmet. What were your do you have any complaints about it? Do you have any?
That was my exact thought, bro. I was like, oh, that's nice. I'm not a huge fan of the mohawk. It just kind of gives it kind of like a futuristic look, but I like more of the classic kind of look. But it's not to the point where I don't like it. I think it's still, that shit, it's slap, man. Like, it'll be interesting to see what combo they use it on. I know people didn't like the Cam Jordan picks with the throwback. I mean, with the color rush. I thought it looked fine, but I think it'll probably be better with the white jerseys with the black print or the black jerseys.
Yes.
So, but we'll see, man. But it's fresh, though. I like the change up, man. I've been wanting a black helmet for the Saints. Like, that's been a long time request.
Yeah. It's been like a request for like the longest from all of us, like for years.
For a team with like the color is black and gold. It's like Can we get a black helmet?
You get black. And they finally got one. And so it'll be interesting to see one, how much they're able to use that helmet in games. Like, is it going to be like a once or twice a season type of thing?
I think it's once or twice.
But I like it. I know my dude, Dark Saint don't like it. I saw some negative reaction on it on Twitter, and I was just like,
Max, he can't stand it, man.
Can't stand it, man. I will say though, the markup or the makeup one, like the test one that he posted in our Discord, bitch, whew,
that thing was fire. I was like, yeah.
But beggars can't be choosers, man. Beggars can't be choosers. I enjoy it. I'll like to see it, like you said, with the uniforms, with the
at the end of the day, if the Saints lose with that black helmet, that's gonna tell Saints fans everything. Like, if they lose with that helmet, everybody gonna hate that motherfucker.
Or the thing is, like, and I'm going on record, like, I am not a big color rush jersey or combo. Like, I don't love them. I don't know what. I don't, bro. And I know that's like, I know that's the minority, but like with the first two seasons that they wore them, bro, like they played awful in them. Like they were terrible. Like they've done a lot better over the years now as it's going on. But like the first year, one of them was like 2 Thursday night games, and I think they played and they just lost in them. And I've never been very enamored with them. Like I don't dislike them. I just don't love them like most do. And that just goes to show you about like fashion, right? Like, yeah, it just people have completely different tastes and what they are into and what they like.
I always and forever hate the white and black combo, like the white jersey with the black pajama top and bottom.
Hate it, bro.
The yoga tights or whatever. I'm like, man, if they put a stripe on the side of the pants, maybe I'll feel better about it. But just something about it, bro. It just always irked me, man. I don't know.
So I wanted to run something by you. And part of this came to mind thinking about the CD Deuce diatribe he went on yesterday, 2 days ago? Yeah, yesterday, I want to say. After a mini camp practice, and we talked about it last night on the State of the Saints with TJ, but I thought about what CD was saying in that clip, and here I am. I'm watching the Warriors win their 4th NBA championship with Steph at the helm, and I started thinking. I think about how this year's Warriors team was kind of like constructed, right? Their team was constructed of 3 prominent players in Steph, Clay, Draymond, championship experience, been the big 3, have seen it all, been through it all. And then they had this young nucleus of young talent that kind of like bridged the gap between the two, right? Of old and new. They had Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins, who isn't young, but he's a newer player to like, and everything just worked of like, you had the old heads that are still at times can be elite players, and then you had the young bucks that were coming up. And I just started thinking like that's kind of what the Saints have, is it not? Now I'm not saying the comparisons are exactly the same from basketball and NFL. They're not, but if you just think about it, how this team is currently constructed, and I'm talking about the Saints, you have the old heads, right? So the old heads would be Cam Jordan, DeMario Davis, even though he's new. Honey Badger's kind of an old head because he's done it before. Yeah. Jarvis. It sounds weird to say, but AK is kind of an old head now, right?
I know, right?
So is Ryan Ramczyk, and yes, none of these players have, besides Honey Badger, none of these players have won championships like the Warriors have, but like all of them to some degree have deep playoff experience in the playoffs, been in big games, And then you have this like influx of young talent. Chris Olave, Trevor Penny, Alante Taylor. Don't really consider Marcus May, like he's still more of an old head. You have like these young guys, and if you can get that sometimes on a team, and sometimes like the mix and the fit is just great. And I think if you just listening to minicamp interviews, looking at like Alante Taylor's tweet, perfect example, bro. He said, coming into the DB room, you just surrounded by greatness. Like, yeah. I have no choice but to be great and to raise my game. I'm not going on this long rant to say that this is going to lead to the Saints, winning a Super Bowl next season, but I think they have a good mix of young and old. And if the formula can get mixed in correctly, a lot of it's going to hinge on three things that we don't know. It's going to hinge on Jameis. It's going to hinge on how DA can be as a second-time head coach, and Pete Carmichael. Like, those are huge things that we just don't know, right? Yeah. But just in how the team is built, like, this team can – I'm not going to say they can do a Warriors run to the Super Bowl, but like, they can compete and make noise in the NFC. I really do. I really think they can.
No question, man. I mean, and just like you said with the Alante tweet, man, it's like you got to elevate your game, man. Like, you surround, like, when you think of Tyrann Mathieu, I know like a lot of LSU fans love him, but players love him. Like, these young players grew up watching Honey Badger. You know what I'm saying? Like, he had that youthful swag that they looked up to and stuff like that. So, like, man, being able to play with him, man, it's like they want to come with it. They want to play with Jarvis, Jarvis Landry. So it's a real great opportunity for these young dudes to really step up, because honestly, the Saints need it. Like, they need that refresher. Because everybody else, they're right at that prime. AK, he's right at that prime. Marshawn Lattimore, people like Cam Jordan, they're kind of on the back end. DeMario Davis on the back end. So it's kind of like you got to strike that iron now, man. Like, those players, they could fall off a cliff at any point.
Any point, man.
It's like, and thankfully it don't look like, I look at Cam Jordan, he's still moving around, just energetic as hell. I saw some snaps of DeMario Davis. He just looks, he looks 28 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it make no sense. It don't make no sense.
Makes no sense. Like, I don't think you're gonna see any drop off from him. So, man, you got to strike while the iron's hot, bro.
You got, like, let's just go through the young players a little bit. You got, so obviously Chris Olave, Trevor Penny, Alante Taylor, Pete Warner, Paulson Adebo, Peyton Turner. He's like right in the middle. Like, he ain't young, but he ain't old. He's middle age.
What, 26?
I'm just talking about, like, when he was drafted in 8. I'm just going more by, like, when
NFL
like how NFL years, right? So, like, he's like middle aged at this point. It's just something that got me thinking, watching Game 6, seeing the Warriors win the title. Was like, that's how they got to this. Like, because if they didn't have the young talent, like the Young Bucks and Jordan Poole and all, like, if it was just the big three trying to lead them to a championship, bro, they wouldn't have won.
Yeah,
they wouldn't have won. So let's stay with Marcus Davenport. We got to stay with Marcus Davenport. The news that came out this week, man. So if I remember the report correctly, so Mike Triplett reported it. Like, he said it like in an interview. So he's had 3 surgeries on his finger since the end of the season.
What the hell?
3, trying to fix a plate. And then one of the surgeries, it didn't, he got like an infection that led to him like amputating some of his pinky finger, bruh.
Oh.
Like, what? I'd be remiss to say Peyton Turner wasn't at minicamp because he's dealing with a shoulder injury. Like, I said it last night. Like, those two players are the key for the Saints defense to be elite.
Right.
Like, not like great. I don't even mean great. I mean, they're so good, and I'm not going to put them in the same, like, you know, Legion of Boom era or like that Broncos defense or a Ravens defense. But if they're not there, they're like the tier right below it, right?
Yeah.
And I think that, to me, the health of Davenport and Peyton Turner, but the development of Peyton Turner, because if they can give you good to great pass rush consistently, that changes the whole tenor and complexion of the defense. So hopefully Davenport and Turner will be healthy for training camp in a month. But we're going to talk about towards the end, we're going to talk about the things we're looking for headed into training camp. But like off the bat, like it had like my attention's right on that is their health.
Yeah. Yeah, especially, and you know, with Davenport, it's just like, come on, man. Like, I think last offseason was the only offseason he was healthy in the offseason.
Yes.
So it's like, this is just par for the course for him, man. Like, just hope he's ready for training camp. And what other injury did he have? I know he had the pinky, but what else? A shoulder? Or?
I think it was maybe a shoulder. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So hopefully that's together, man. But it's just annoying. It's like, it's not his fault. You can't blame the player for injuries. But it's just like, geez, bro, like Cam Jordan out there. You just see Cam Jordan out there, man, just having fun. Has missed one game in his entire career due to COVID.
Because of like a pandemic illness, bro.
Right. And he wasn't even sick. Like he wasn't even sick. He just because of NFL protocol. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, oh, like, man, like, just get on the field, bro. And with Peyton Turner, man, he's a question mark. We don't know. We don't know what that dude is. He missed a lot of training camp. Last year, came back, had kind of a nice little game against Carr. Didn't do much after that. He got hurt. Still hurt. So it's like, what is he? We won't see him until training camp. Like, we don't know.
And also, like, if you just go back to his career at Houston,
same thing.
Was injury prone in college. Like, I don't know. The two biggest question marks, like player health wise, going into the season is Peyton Turner and Michael Thomas. Like, we saw a photo of Michael Thomas, like. Yeah. And I said in our Discord, like, oh, that's the new Jerris Bird pick that Ryan used to post, bro. Like, you're like, oh, he got a Saints jersey on. Like, it's been so long, bro.
Man, and we just don't know what that's going to look like. That's crazy, and it's sad too. But we just got to see, bro. Like, those are such huge questions going into the season. That are so pivotal. They're pivotal questions that are worth multiple games. Like if Mike Thomas healthy, Davenport healthy, Peyton Turner turns a corner and is a good player. Like that's like worth a couple games. Like what I'm saying. Like as far as wins, huge impacts. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be pivotal, bro. Like come August, just to see how that plays out.
It'll be pivotal. Not one thing I will say, and I know we were kind of like this was on our radar for OTAs, and we know OTAs were voluntary, but to see that a minicamp was mandatory, and to see that the Saints had 100% attendance, even for players who weren't able to do anything because of injury, like they were still there, which that was good to see, just team wise. So anything in terms of, and keep in mind, if you're listening to this as a listener, listen, Ryan and I aren't at a mini camp practice. We don't have media Saints credentials. Even if we were to try to get one, I don't think we would ever get the Saints and be like, y'all? No. So we can't give you on the ground like analysis and observations. Like that's for the Nick Underhills, that's for John Hendricks, Captain Terrell, Mike Triplett. Like read those observations. All we can do is basically read the observations that they reported and then, have our thoughts on it. So with that said, what are, some thoughts you've had over some observations you've read over these last couple of days with the minicamp wrapping up today?
It's been promising to hear that just Jarvis Landry seems to just be clicking, bro. Like he's doing everything right. He's running the routes.
He's healthy too.
He's healthy. Like that's a huge thing because he was not healthy.
Nope.
The last year and a half. He seems to have like a nice little camaraderie with Jameis, and Jameis looks for him. So that's just huge. That's huge, regardless if Mike Thomas is healthy or not. You know what I'm saying? Especially if he's not. Like Jarvis is going to play a huge role if that happens. It's good to hear that Chris Olave, I just wanted to make sure Chris Olave made it through this. I didn't want to hear him limping off the field and then like that. So he's been healthy the entire minicamp.
He don't have any asthma issues that's flaring up in the heat, bro.
Yeah, like that's all I need. That's the only news I hear. On side of that, he's been playing well. Everything he's been catching, everything, running great routes. You
can see it. The route running, exactly. It is like it's easy to see it like when we watch them, right? But just seeing him run routes, and someone put it in our Discord, like watching Chris Olave run around, and this is no disrespect to like Jarvis, like his route running is so like I can't even describe it, bro. Like it is
because they had put out a clip, and it was Jarvis Landry running the route, and then it was Chris Olave, and it was just
it was night and day, bro.
It's not like one was bad route, one was good. It's just the athleticism and just smoothness of Olave it jumps out at you, and that's all you want to see in minicamp. This minicamp is 7-on-7 at best, no pads or none of that. But you want to at least see what you looked at on tape from the college player and see if it translates. You just want to see it. That's it. And you see it with Chris Olave. It's like, okay, it's there.
Something that I was happy to read, right, is what was the biggest knock on Chris Olave coming out? He don't toughness. Have any toughness. He's not physical. Well, one of the best plays in minicamp that was reported was, Jameis threw a great ball in tight coverage right between two defenders, and Chris Olave, gets smacked by the defense, held onto it, makes a great catch. Like that's the little stuff where I'm like, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine.
Well, I mean, he's playing with Jarvis Landry, one of the toughest. I don't care what team everybody would tell you he's one of the toughest players in football. Like just tough. That's just who he is. You got Michael Thomas, another one of the toughest players in football. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not about to measure a dude toughness or not. You know what I'm saying? But if you play with those dudes, you just gonna have to bring it. You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna let that shit slide. So, I expect to see him become much more well-rounded as far as his game.
I agree. One of the most simple things, it was a little surreal to see. Was it yesterday, 2 days ago, when the Saints social media posted that picture of AK and Jarvis Landry doing like a little shoulder bump, like mid-air shoulder bump, bro. And I had to take a step back a little bit, right? Because me and you, like we follow the team. Obviously, we do this podcast. We're not super emotionally invested into wins and losses anymore, but just seeing that, I took a step back and I was like, man,
that's crazy.
We got AK and Jarvis Landry on the same team, bro.
And can we talk about just AK, bro? Because we didn't see him through OTAs.
Didn't? Yep.
And just to see him come back and just running them choice routes so smooth, it's just like, I don't need no more. Like, you just sit him down, put a little package on him until September. Like, I don't need to see anymore. You good. Like we know he take care of his body. We know he has a crazy training regimen. You know, when it comes to football, he know what he's doing. Like it was just a nice reminder. Like, yeah, he that dude. He's still that dude.
Still a dog.
He's the face of the franchise, pretty much. You know what I'm saying?
He is as of right now.
Yeah, as of right now. You know, so hopefully the legal situation play itself out. We'll see. You know, apparently he still has like, you know, continuances all through the year. So, you know, it might not be something that we see this year.
Bro, that sounds like one of my cases in children's court, bro. Continuances, contested.
That's all they do.
That's all they do. Because all it is, and I've learned this as a social worker, and I've very much learned the legal system from being a social worker, is that, i.e., if I have a recommendation for a case, and let's hypothetically say it's like negative until like it's not in the parent's benefit, right? If I'm saying this kid should be adopted or this kid shouldn't go back home yet, whatever it is, right? The legal recourse that a parent does is they don't want that decision to be made in court, so their counsel will continually try to request continuances and push the court dates back and back and back to delay the inevitable. So by the time let's say, and it was happening all the time, like, we're supposed to have a court date in February, but with continuances, maybe it doesn't get heard until like June or July. So then a parent's attorney could then say, well, Your Honor, this incident happened back in February or whatever date it was. Now this time has passed. Like, there's not any more risk or any more. They just try to spin it. So I've seen it. So it wouldn't shock me at all if this continues to get continued. So maybe the end of the year. That's just how the court system, that's how the legal system works. But some things that have caught my eye in minicamp. Two things. One, think Lucas Kroll got a chance, bro. The Lucas Kroll hive percolate a little bit. And it could just be this is just due to what the state of the current tight end position for the Saints right now. But it seems like he's flashed in OTAs, he's flashed a little bit in minicamp, and he doesn't have a lot of competition.
Yeah, man. I mean, if Kroll can just give us some average tight end snaps, doesn't even have to be above average, just average rookie tight end snaps, that'll be huge, right? Like, that'll be huge. It's such a hole in this offense. We don't know what we're going to get with Adam Troutman. He's been too inconsistent. Showed some promises rookie year. Took a step back his next year. So we don't know. He could take a step up. But, you know, if Kroll's showing something this early, man, that means something to me. Like, because, I mean, you saw it, you know, if you watch, you know, him with Kenny Pickett, like they had a nice little thing going on. If Jameis can develop that with Kroll, bro, that'll just do nothing but help this offense because they need it.
Need it, man. It's needed. And listen, if you look at the tight end position, you have Adam Troutman, Finding Nemo, Nick Vannett, Juwan Johnson. Like, it's not crazy to think that Lucas Kroll can maybe get Nick Vannett out the paint. Like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, the potential of someone like Kroll, if he continues to flash and things like that, you'd be like, Nick Vannett, you can get out of here. Like, which just goes to show, like, that's just how big of a area of need it is in the offense. Another player, and this man might be becoming Pete Warner Part 2, bro. Monte Taylor, bro.
Man.
Dennis Allen in his presser singled out Big Creek, Carl Granderson.
Yeah.
Singled out that Alante Taylor is further along in his development that even them and the coaching staff would have thought up to this point, bro.
That says a lot, man.
This is minicamp. Now, we weren't a fan of the pick. We wanted that pick to be another offensive weapon, and we were being greedy, rightfully so. I must say, I don't think we were doing anything wrong. I think the bigger question is that I am now more confident that Alante Taylor is going to play meaningful snaps on the defense this season.
Me too.
My only thing that comes with that is that who does that encroach on? Because it's not going to encroach on Marshawn Lattimore.
No.
So it shouldn't encroach on CD because CD has a specialized position of being a slot cornerback. So that just leaves Don't Vax Me, Paulson Adebo, and Bradley Roby. Like those are the only two players that Alante Taylor could cut in on their snaps. And it's weird, right? Because you would think that how good Paulson Adebo played last season, especially towards the end of the season, right? Like he kind of really came into his own after having, he had some games where he struggled, but all in all, like he had, for being a third round pick, he had a damn good rookie season.
He really did.
Playing the hardest position you could play in sports, right?
Yeah.
So my question is for Alante Taylor to potentially cut into his snaps, like that to me is really telling.
It is, man. And I think he will. I think he's going to push Paulson Adebo. I think Paulson Adebo played really well as a rookie. I think he's going to be like a starting perimeter cornerback in this league. But you know how cornerback is, man. It's almost a matchup game.
Yeah.
Just like wide receivers. I think, Paulson Adebo will have problems matching up against certain wide receivers that Alante will elevate against. You know what I'm saying? So I think you'll be in a situation where you got, you can be able to pick your poison about who you want on the perimeter besides Marshawn Lattimore. And, I would love to take a look, but the games Lattimore has missed, I can always guarantee you those were losses. Like I remember last year, he was out during the Carolina game last year, I believe. And it changes the whole defense when Marshawn Lattimore is out. So if they could just build that depth to where it's not such a huge drop off if Lattimore gets hurt, man, that's what makes great defenses. It's not just having great players, but it's having great depth. So if you could have a secondary where you got, 3-4 good cornerbacks, which is what you need in today's NFL, man, like that's when you're really cooking with gas. Because that's when, we see it every week, every Sunday in the NFL, this corner goes out, then they bring in Giacomo, whoever, and he just gets abused. You know what I'm saying? Like they just start abusing whoever player comes in,
right?
The third string cornerback or whatever. But when you got legitimate guys that can come in, man, it just makes all the difference.
All the difference, right? And we've said this offline through text message, but the days of questioning secondary players drafted by the Saints,
it's crazy.
just with Jeff Ireland at the helm, bro. We might got to put it to a rest, bro.
Ain't that crazy?
The Kareem Moore and I always forget the other guy's name in that 2018 draft.
What was the name?
I'd have to look it up. But those are like the only two blemishes. Like that's wild.
Some late round picks, yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. And
Latrell Jack, I did. I got it. Yeah, without looking it up. Woo. Yes.
And I was just thinking, like, man, I posted in the Discord, like, man, I remember praying. We paid Delvin Bro CB1 money. You know what I'm saying? Just for him when he came in that one season and just showed above average cornerback play. It was just like, yes, pay him. Like it was just like
we were thirsty, bro.
Thirsty, bro. Thirsty, dog. Like, so to be here where you got all these cornerbacks, all these safeties. I mean, look, Bryce Thompson, he's been making a lot of noise in camp. He playing safety, playing nickel. He played first team nickel today, in place of Cedi, and Nick Underhill wrote about him. Dennis Allen's talked about him real positively. So man, like PJ and Tyrant, like they got some guys in the secondary. Like it's gonna be some hard choices, man. Like is King Crawley with the team? I don't even know.
Is the cuts in the secondary? Whoo! And I don't know if this is gonna happen, right? Because they brought back Bradley Roby, but like I don't know if they ever like talked about how much money Bradley Roby's getting. I don't.
Right.
Yeah. Like it was just like he's back. Oh, okay, like no numbers, but it would not shock me at all that if Alontae Taylor continues to develop, especially like if he just has a great, outstanding training camp, man, they probably trying to see like, man, maybe we could cut Bradley Roby, maybe we could try to trade him for
which is crazy because this time last year, training camp last year, cornerback was a must.
Yep. I remember.
That's why they traded for Roby because they needed cornerbacks, man. Like it was a dearth. They lost Jack Rabbit and they just never replaced him. You had Paulson Adebo, but it was like it's a third round rookie. Like, what do you know you're gonna get from him? And just
it was gonna be Richard Sherman, bro.
Richard Sherman, yep.
It was gonna be Richard Sherman. I don't know. It's just the secondary is obviously the strength of the team. You brought up Bryce. I'm glad you brought him up because he's made a lot of plays. Like it, just the cuts. It's hard, man. It's hard. Let's switch over to offense. I want to start with wide receiver. More specifically, can we talk about Deontay Hardy? Can we talk about his roster spot and if he's going to make the team? So he signs his tender because he got tender. He signs his tender, and he wants a contract extension, right?
Yeah.
Which he has every right in the world to want his contract extended. But I would just say to him, right? Like, I think you got to read the room a little bit, right? Like, if they had not drafted Chris Olave and they hadn't drafted a wide receiver in this last draft, like, then you have some leverage, right? Because you ain't got nothing else. But this team is drafted Chris Olave. They signed Jarvis Landry. Michael Thomas is a huge question mark. They got Marquez Callaway, who played decently and got better as the season went on last year. And it just doesn't sound like they're close in terms of numbers. So I love the idea of Deontay Hardy being on this team, putting him on one side, on the right side, putting Chris Olave on the left side of the formation. And then you just got speed, bro. Like, you got the defense just scared shitless. I love that idea in theory, but will it, like, is this contract situation going to, perk up his head? Because if we be honest, like, I could just see the Saints being like, man, like, it's as good as you are and limited what you can do. Like, you are not healthy enough for us to invest money into what you do. I can see it, man. I don't know how it's going to play out, but it wouldn't shock me at all if it played out.
It wouldn't. No, it wouldn't shock me at all. Especially, special teams. Does he still want to play special teams? Is that something he still wants to do? Is that something the Saints still want him to do? Because, I mean, he was he's the best returner the Saints have had since Sproles, easily, by far. All pro as a returner, which is hard to do as a rookie. Like, man, that's just crazy. And but I mean, he just gets injured, man. Like, it's just a part of the game. He's a small guy. He's what, 5'6", 5'7". And he just gets banged around. He's tough. It's not like he's a soft player. He's tough. He gets in there, but man, his body can only handle so much. So I mean, that you just got to take that into account when trying to extend the player. I'm sure he wants, looking at what the wide receivers making, Christian Kirk and all them. I'm sure he wants 9, 10, 11 million. It's just not going to happen with the Saints. It's not. They're not going to pay him that. So I fully expect him to be on another team. Is he going to be on another team this year? I don't know. I think, we're going to see how things play out in training camp, see who's healthy, as far as like Mike Thomas. They still got Tre'Quan Smith. They got some young guys coming up.
Bro, why did I forget Tre'Quan Smith is even on this team?
I forgot to, bro. I was just looking at a video today and I saw them like doing high fives. I was like, man, look at Tre'Quan, man. I forgot they brought him back, bro. So like they got options. Like they are not married to Devontae Hardy. They are not. But I would miss them in special teams unless they find another gem of returner. You know what I'm saying? Like, and look, man, see what you want about him. When he was healthy last year, he was one of the Saints' best receivers. Like him and James had those comeback routes was killing teams because he would go up to the field, turn around, come back, and they couldn't defend that. And when he went downfield, he was catching them balls in stride, bro. That speed is real. Like his speed is real, and you can't coach that. Like that's worth something. That's worth something. He's worth getting paid. Don't get me wrong, but it's just the way the Saints, the moves the Saints made this offseason kind of makes it a tough decision to pay that type of money.
It doesn't. It doesn't. I think you said it perfectly in terms of we don't know is the quote unquote marriage or relationship going to end now or is it going to end next season? Because in theory, like the Saints don't have to, like, yes, he may want a new contract, but like you can want all you fucking want. Like you signed this tender, bro. Play under this tender and figure this shit out. Another time.
And it happens a lot with these UDFAs that play well. It's unfortunate for them, but it just is what it is because, they play 2 years and they get tendered, 2-3 years, then they get tendered. They play under a shitty tender and then they're like 26, 27 years old. Right. Trying to cash out. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of sucks for them.
Man,
they get kind of screwed.
Sucks fucking big time.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at players like Victor Cruz. I remember back in the day, he kind of got screwed. He was a extremely productive wide receiver for the New York Giants. And, he kind of got stuck due to all this shit. So it's just kind of the way the game plays. So I feel, but he's going to get paid. As long as he got that speed, man, that dude going to have a career, bro.
Oh, easily. It might not, like you said, it might not be with the Saints, but he's not going to be unemployed for long if it's not with, like, and if I would say this, if for whatever reason they just feel like he's not in the plans this year, or if it becomes like not able to be reconciled, which I couldn't see it getting to that point this early, but in theory, let's say it would, he has some trade value. Like you're not going to get like
at that salary, like he's under like what he's getting paid. What's his tender, like $3 million or something? $2 million?
Peanuts, man.
Peanuts. Oh, come on now.
Like you could get hypothetically, if I'm the Bears who need a lot of offensive help, need to give Justin Fields fucking something, and they've had one of the worst off seasons in terms of helping their quarterback, like you call up New Orleans and say, hey, I gotta throw you a fourth round pick for Deontay Hardy. You could get a fourth for Deontay. I really think you could.
Oh yeah. I mean, you think of the Lions, they coach knows him, think of, San Francisco, I mean, so many teams, man. Like, you wouldn't have any problems moving him.
No, at all. Anything else just that you can recall from like the observations or anything that you've read from minicamp that's caught your eye?
Oh, it was just good, kind of back to Jameis. It's good to see him out there just spinning it. We know he's not 100% yet. He's still working back and, kind of walking with a little limp. But he out there competing, bro. He's out there. From everything I read, he's in there early. He's the last one off the field every practice. He's not competing with anybody this year, so he's taking ownership of the offense. I think all that's important, bro. Like, we'll see. I was listening to Nick Underhill. He was saying, like, Jameis looks like much better than he did at this point last year practicing for the Saints. You know what I'm saying? Like, just as far as just control of everything, accuracy, all that stuff. So, we'll see how that plays out. But, that's what you want to hear at this point. You don't want to hear anything negative. You want to hear that he's doing positive things. So, I mean, to me, that's just huge. We'll see if he can stay healthy the whole year. But then you got Red Rifle sitting behind him, man. Like, like the Saints don't have a great quarterback, but they got a good quarterback room. You know what I'm saying? That makes sense.
No, you're right. And I want to see. Speaking of injuries, we talked about Peyton Turner, we talked about Marcus Davenport, we talked about Mike Thomas. Like, it's funny that we haven't really, like, Jameis's injury, even though it was like bad. Like, I think sometimes we get kind of lost in just assuming week 1 he's gonna be out there for like 6 months. This man's coming back from a torn ACL, bro. Like,
it's like it's nothing, and the media don't talk about it. It's just like, they got Jameis Winston, he'll be out there. Like, man, he tore his ACL on Halloween. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. October, bro. So, so what? The season starts in September. So like he'll have like about 11 months, in terms of surgery, rehab, all that, the road to recovery. But I think it's important for us to take a step back sometimes, just as fans, and just be like, oh shit, like Jameis had fucking surgery on his fucking knee. And it's not just a short thing. Like, I'm sure he'll be fine by training camp, and I'm sure he'll start week 1. But like I said, like as of right now, this man's walking with the limp. Like, he's supposed to be playing football in 3 months. Like,
exactly. And it takes time. It takes time not just to heal, but for them to trust their knee. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's any athlete that you'll listen to in terms of like that injury. They always, especially for football players, they say that's the biggest hurdle for them.
Right.
It's trust in the knee again.
Trust issue. Yeah. And with him last year, he was using his legs a lot, trying to get first downs and stuff like that. It's going to be interesting to see how he approaches it. If he's just going to try to just stay in the pocket and just be a more efficient, quick at the ball. Because from everything I read, they focused heavily this offseason on short, intermediate, quick game, getting the ball out, third down, red zone, stuff like that. So, and he's talked immensely about being better in the short and intermediate. So it'd be interesting if he tries to be like more of a quick game quarterback, like, this system kind of fits, or if he just kind of falls into what he's normally doing.
Yeah, that's true. I had something for minicamp. I know what it was. It's a small thing, and it's nothing that may seem big, but it kind of goes just back to the point I started at the beginning of the podcast in terms of like the youth and the vets. But the energy coming from the team right now feels very positive.
It does.
It feels very
it's really positive, man. Like,
it is, man.
Good vibes and all that.
And like every time I see Alontae Taylor, that he's hyped. Like, he'll do something like he's jumping up in the air, and his athleticism like leaps off the screen.
It does, man. I really undercounted how athletic he was. And that will take you far as a DB.
Yes. Like athleticism
that alone will take you far.
Mixed with good coaching that can give you good technique, and you pair that with good to great athleticism. Whew.
Oh yeah, that'll take you a long way, man.
It absolutely will. And that's like I said, it's just a small thing, but the videos, like it just seems to be a good feeling vibe. Which, I'm not trying to turn this into a whole other conversation, but just talk briefly on it. Is imagine like if you are still a Browns fan and you decide to stick around even after they traded for Deshaun Watson, bro, and just like just stank
over there, bro.
Like every time you get a notification on your phone, if you're still like one of those fans that are like still connected to the team, if you're a Browns fan and you see something from Adam Schefter, you're just like, is this another 25, 25? Oh, you just put your phone back down.
66.
Lost count,
he gets suspended. Suspended
Ooh.
for 6 weeks. Is it for the entire season? Is it
the season? Like 8 games.
The whole Baker Mayfield thing just hanging over. This is nasty.
Also, Baker dumb as shit, bro. Like, bro, I would have been.
I would have been at Browns camp showing out like, man, this dude Baker is a stand-up dude, ready to play.
You know his little dance he did at the photo shoot that got me.
I've been doing that
all on the sideline, bro. In my Browns. I'm like, get me out of here. But if y'all don't drag your feet, I'm gonna make this as awkward as possible.
I mean, shit, they won't pay him. They can pay him, you know.
Shit,
18 million.
18 mil. Shit. Dan's on this sideline real quick. Hey, Baker, our starting quarterback, he has a situation that he's dealing with. He can't play for 8 games. Can you play for us? Just keep on dancing on the side. Not gonna be able to do it. That to me, like if that was me as a player, and he wants to get out of Cleveland as badly as he does, I would force their hand. The quickest way you would force their hand, show up the fucking mandatory minicamp, bro.
Exactly, because right now you're not being a problem.
Yeah, bro. I couldn't wait to talk to Diana Rossini, bro. Like, oh, Baker, what are you doing here? Just being a team player, just here, just get some work. just like go about it completely normal, like nothing.
Bro, I'll be sitting in the front row at the Deshaun Watson presser while you answer questions about.
Bro, get you imagine? Got some popcorn, just like
front row. Yeah. That's what y'all want. You know?
What? Okay. Missed opportunity for Baker. Missed opportunity for him. What are some things? So, kind of wrapping up our minicamp talk. Anything? Training camp around the corner. Anything that you're just zoned in for training camp.
Publis. That's it. I want to see what that Publis. Who on it? Is it Mike Thomas? Is it Jameis? Is it Marcus Davenport? Is it Peyton Turner? Those are the 4 players I want to see what their injury, that'll tell me everything. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Who's on the pup and who's not will tell you. I expect Mike Thomas to be on the pup list. I'd be shocked if he isn't. And I think they're going to try to bring him along slowly. But the other players, like if Peyton Turner and Davenport on the pup list, bro, I'm done, bro. Like, I'm done, man. Like, I just can't deal with it no more. Like, I'm just done.
You know who gonna be healthy for training camp though? Harold Landry.
Caesar Reed.
Oh well, we'll get to him. I was gonna say Harold Landry and Joe Tryon, bro.
I'm telling you. Don't try on Reddit.
Ready, bro. He made a play in one of the Bucks games, and like he chased down Taysom from like an angle.
Oh man, I remember.
And pushed him out of bounds, and I was like,
"Yo!" But I did see Zach Bond. I saw a picture of him. I saw a picture of Zach Bond this week.
What?
Yeah.
Not even a video, bro. Like you saw Bigfoot. Like
the picture. I'm like, Zach Bond. He was on the football field.
There he is.
Zach Bond things. But I did, jokes aside, I did hear he was blitzing a lot. I don't know. I don't know, bro. Like it's just, no Saints reporter asked anything about Zach Bond. I wanted somebody to just ask, like, what are the plans with this guy?
What is he? Like, is he gonna make the team? Like,
it's just a waste. Just a waste, man. You would think he would get more opportunities now. With your two DEs out,
right. Just let the man rush. You brought him up. So for me, going into training camp, for sure. I think you hit it, like that PUP list, the injuries. That's what I'm hyper focused on. But the other thing I'm focused on, and I said it last night, closing the State of the Saints podcast with TJ, is the team has answered the question in terms of being able to show us the vision when they saw a hole at wide receiver. They saw that they needed to get better in that room, and they did that in spades, bro. They went out and got Chris Olave. They got Jarvis Landry. Like, they've improved that position. So my question is that you did it for one position group. For this one position, right guard, 51, name, number, circle. Is that going to be the same energy, or is it because it's already like when Nick Underhill kind of already putting out like the piece, like the story, like you kind of already know what's going to happen. Like, oh, the coach's third year, you're going to turn the corner. Like, what? Part of me as a fan, and it doesn't happen just in football, it happens in all sports. Sometimes players just show you who they are.
Yeah.
Right? No amount of coaching, different, I don't know, Doug Marone's back. Can there be competition at the right guard position?
Please.
Like, if hypothetically, if Cesar Ruiz wins it, but hypothetically, if he like won it legit, then cool, right? Like, boom, he won it. But I need to see Landon Young at right guard getting snaps. I need to see Throckmorton getting snaps.
Bring in Clemente, man. Like,
Senio Clemente was in a mini camp, tryout for 3 days. I said it last night. You can't tell me with a straight face that Cesar Ruiz could play better snaps right now than Senio Clemente. Couldn't tell me. I wouldn't believe you.
That's not because Clemente is great. It's just he's slightly average,
below average to at sometimes average NFL guard.
That's good. I would take that over Reed.
That's all we need right now at right guard, Ryan. Like, this nigga is on my nerves.
Like, at least be a speed bump for a defensive tackle. But Reed just opened the gate like that.
This nigga is Moses, just parting the sea. Like,
come on through, baby.
let my people go. And I texted this to you a few days ago. I said, well, if they're set on starting Cesar, man, at that point, I need all the memes. I need the videos. Everything. Because I am going to be a fucking fool and laughing. Clouded, bro. Clouded. Because, like, the Saints play the Rams this season, right? I gotta see it, bro. Just like it's like a snuff film. I need 9-9 on 51 every snap of the fucking.
Aaron Donald gets to pick who he lines up against.
Yep,
so he gonna watch that tape and be like, 51 is me every snap, every snap. I want him.
Can't wait for it. Because here's the thing,
like Bloodsmore with Chung Lee. Point, like, I want you.
you know 51 ain't gonna miss any games because of injury or illness.
Oh, no. Pristine health, man. Pristine health.
Not in that man DNA.
That man ain't limp off the field once.
You know the injury sometimes, like you look a player limp off the field, you're like, oh, he get hurt, and he on the sideline for a little bit, and then you come back in, you're like, oh, okay, he's okay.
Never. Whole offensive line got ravaged. Backups got ravaged. Not Ruiz. You can't say that about him. I mean, you can't say that.
I have a feeling that they're not going to create any competition at right guard. They're going to trust that Doug Marrone can fix it. But I do hope, if let's say it's 2 weeks in training camp, and Doug Marrone just realizes, like, man, I can't. I would hope that if he went to DA in his office and just had like a conversation, coach to coach, and he said, we got to figure out something at right guard. Like this.
Yeah,
this ain't,
I don't think, DA has no tie to Ruiz. Doug Marrone has no ties. I mean, only ties people have is like the front office. And, at this point, they have no say over what happens. And I mean, if you look at Dennis Allen, when Dennis Allen became defensive coordinator, the first thing he did was basically bench Stephon Anthony. Like, he just said, nope. Like, nope, I cannot play this player, period. And they had him playing like strong side backer, which basically was a bitch. So, DA will sit a player now. Like, does he have the vision on offense to do those type of things? I don't know. But I think if Doug Marrone voices his concerns, I think he respect that. I don't think DA has any ties to be like, oh, we put a first round pick on this guy. Nah. But I think he has his amen choir somewhere in the team that just wants him to work out, whether it's Jeff Ireland or whoever.
Whoever it is. That's something I'm looking forward to in training camp. We talked about the injuries. I want to see if Lucas Kroll can continue that good momentum. And then, like, I feel like we haven't, like, and I don't know if it means anything, but, like, can we hear anything from the tight end position besides, like, Lucas Kroll, bro? Like, it's been crickets. Like you're not seeing, like, Adam Troutman made this catch, Juwan
Johnson,
nothing, bro. Like, I wanted to end with this. Shout out to our dude Cordell on Twitter. He wanted us to talk about the CD Deuce video. We talked about it last night on the State of the Saints pod last night. But CD got, very passionate speech, after a minicamp practice. And the first thing I thought about is just his passion. Like, and we talked about last night of how you couldn't have a player who, even though he's not like from New Orleans, like embodies the whole culture of New Orleans more than than Chauncey does. Talking about how defense was, disrespected. They have the best defense in the league. Their record against Tom Brady. He brought up, he's not gonna name no names, but he's talking about the Jared Cook fumble. Part of me was like, better be careful talking about Jared Cook, bro. Like, you might need to bring this nigga back. Like,
I know that's what I'm saying.
It's dark in tight end position right now, bro. But I watched it and I was like this. And I hope he's able to stay a Saint for a very long time. I have some doubts about that, if it works out financially. But, like, one of my biggest thoughts is, like, this is why he's one of my favorite players, one of my favorite draft picks in such a long time, because he is who he is. He's a dog. He means what he says. And you can't not watch that and not be like, fuck yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a fan, you like, but what were your thoughts when you watched the video? I don't know if you watched all of it, but if you watched some of it, what were your thoughts?
No, I did, man. I did. I just like you said, like, he fits right in with the city. My city, we talk our shit. We don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't care. We're gonna talk our shit. We don't care if we losing, winning. we're gonna talk our shit. And CD Deuce embodied that. He tweeted a couple of days ago, like just talking about the city, like he said, this is my crib. Like I fit right in. He feels like he fits right in New Orleans, and he does, man. And I appreciate any players that's like that. I remember the days of Saints players just couldn't wait to get out of New Orleans. I remember they just weren't fans of the city. They all lived out of town in Covington and on the outskirts of New Orleans. They didn't embody that culture, but then you had players like Joe Horn came and Deuce McAllister. Deuce McAllister came in and was, immediately ingratiated himself, to the city of New Orleans. And that was huge, man, for Saints fans back then. And now, you got players like Tyrann Mathieu from New Orleans. You got CD Deuce, grace yourself. Cam Jordan, like, just a part of the city, like a part of the fabric of the city. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they are faces of New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? So, and, obviously Drew Brees, who was just the face of New Orleans for the longest. So it's just great to see. I just enjoy that aspect of it because, football aside, man, like that shit's important, bro. Like, just kids that were my age back, just like me watching the Dome Patrol and, Aaron Rodgers and not Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Brooks and all that stuff. You got kids, 11 years old watching the Saints games now, and they like a CD Deuce, CD Deuce look like me. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
that just goes a long way. And so I just like that aspect of it. And on top of that, he's a good fucking player. Like, just good.
Yes.
He's a dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that just makes it even better,
It does, man. It does. And like I hit on it a little bit earlier, just the vibes coming out from the team, from like the locker room. I don't know, this is early. I don't know what the end result's going to be, and some of it's luck with regards to injuries. Sometimes the ball bounces weird ways. Like, that's just sports in general. And I mean, in reality, like, that's also life. But just on a very limited sample size, we've seen minicamp these 3 days. We didn't even talk about, the Joe Schobert linebacker tryout. He trying out for 3 days. We haven't talked about, David Johnson. He tried out. But the vibe and feeling coming up from this team is completely positive. Whether that means anything, whether it's going to turn into anything, is yet to be seen. I did want to talk about David Johnson real quick. Don't know if he's going to get signed after the mini camp tryout or anything like that. But I truly do believe that the RB2 position on the team is still very much in flux.
Yeah, it's the flux.
They want someone to be able to do that position and do it well. Maybe it's David Johnson. I don't know. Yeah. I know
it might be in flux until early September.
Easily. The running back two on the team, running back two might not even be on the team right now.
Right.
Might not, that might be someone who gets, maybe like a surprise cut in training camp and get signed and picked up or something like that. So that's just another thing going into training camp to, look out for if you're a listener, is just the running back two position. But if David Johnson does get signed as to the team, let's just, there's, reports he was getting snaps at Tony Jones Jr., bro. Like,
thank you. That dude out of here, bro. Another thing I forgot to mention, man. Big Nuts Lutz.
Oh man,
Big Nuts Lutz. He's back.
Huge.
He's at 100%. He finally made some kicks today in team sessions. It wasn't perfect. He missed a couple, as you would expect. Coming back off an injury, but just the fact that he's back. Hopefully, get back in his groove, man. Because the kicker position was like it cost the Saints games last year.
At least two.
If Lutz,
off the top of my head.
Yeah, if Lutz was Lutz last year and played, they would have been in the playoffs. Like, that's how bad the kicking position was. So, So if he could come back and be what he was his first couple of years with the Saints and just be consistent, 90+%, man, Saints good.
They are, man. They are. Man, I think we've hit on it all. Just a shout out to our Patreon. First, a shout out to anyone who listens to this podcast, right? We appreciate you downloading, taking the time to listen to us ramble for an hour. You could do anything within your entire day, but you take the chance, take the time to listen to us. We appreciate that. Big thank you to our Patreon supporters. Please know and believe that the support that you give us via Patreon is going into so many things in terms of things that we have planned coming up for the meetup, giving away game tickets, things like that. The coffee mugs, I'm still working on getting all those coffee mugs out. I've gotten some out. There's 32 more coffee mugs to get out to everyone who's at the $10 level or higher. So, and that all comes again. So that all comes. We're able to do things like that from people who provide to us on via Patreon. So if you have the capability and means to, please take advantage of that. You can become a Patreon. Even if it's something
we know it's hard out here, man.
It is, man.
Gas is high, food high, light bill high, rent high, mortgage is high. So we understand that anything you contribute, we understand. Like, trust me, we appreciate anything that you come to us.
We do, 100%. And like we keep talking about our Discord. We're very proud of our Discord. But keep in mind, like when you become a Patreon, even if it's at $1 level, once the preseason, regular season comes around, you're going to be able to get access to the Zoom live stream where it's the whole concert of us watching the game together, just lit, joking, cracking jokes, laughing. Like I want it. Like I couldn't imagine. Like I want to watch the first where we's like complete with bruh, and we all see it at the same time, and just all our reactions. Like that's the shit that's gonna be amazing. Like that's just gonna be absolutely amazing. So can't wait for that. But again, if you can't become a Patreon, listening to us is great. If you can like us and give us a 5-star on Spotify, iTunes, however you listen, we greatly appreciate it. We know it's about to die here within this next month overall, but please stay with us and stick with us over this month and continue to support us. We really do appreciate it. With that, football, unless some shit blows up, football is done for the month. It takes a little break, but it's going to be back in full swing in a month when training camp's ramping up. We'll be with you the whole entire time doing podcast episodes, even if it's not football related. And then when training camp ramps up, we will be providing you that content episodes, hopefully multiple times throughout the week. With that, we're wrapping up for tonight. Thank everyone for listening and supporting. We appreciate it. With that, we're out.
Peace.
Engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free and provides a report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.